Hey everyone, this is Tom from Montac here doing the weekly Montac matchup for the 14th of January 2022. New year here, and we have got the champion himself, first European champion Zweistein here. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I maybe feel a little rusty from not playing for a while, but it's going to be nice to be back.
Glad to have you back. All right, let's get right into these matchups. First one we've got, now we've noticed that it's very unfortunate, but the three-time champion has fallen down a couple ranks. They're actually right at the very beginning. Tamoose versus Misfire. Rank 12 Tamoose versus rank 17 Misfire. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I feel like Misfire. It's really unfortunate that Misfire has gotten so low of a rank. I feel like Misfire will be able to redeem himself this in the next few games.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he hasn't really had a chance to actually do much this season because he's only played 2 games. One was versus me, which I unexpectedly won, and then after that he played Doozy, which Doozy seems to be his counter to a point. So he hasn't had much of a chance to really show his potential yet. So that's why I feel like he can make a comeback, and I think this game would go to Misfire.
Ooh, all right, fair enough. All right, now let's get to the next matchup. We've got Shadow, rank 11, notorious for being in the very first tournament and a very consistent player outside that top 5. They're going to be taking on the unranked Lucky, who has just been going through the roster, playing as many people as they can, anytime, anywhere. They've even got to you as well.
Indeed.
What are your thoughts on Lucky's potential in the competition?
So yeah, from my experience with playing with Lucky this week, because I played 3 practice matches with him, when he used his competitive deck, I think he could do really well because of his strategy of not or relying on you giving them health points, but they don't give you health points through their effects like Star Hand or Monster Transfer, which are pretty much staples. In the top ranks, most people will just use those cards without thinking because they're like, oh, they'll get to 15 anyways. But he can strategize in a way that can manipulate that in a way. And I think he has a lot of potential to be a top player in the future.
Do you see him in the top 5 or top 3 within a month, or do you think he runs into a really tough opponent before then?
Well, I think he'll probably run into 1 or 2 tough opponents, but I think at least by maybe like next season or the end of this season, we'll see him in the top 5 somehow.
All right, nice. All right. So would you be picking Lucky in this matchup or Shadow?
Lucky just because I've seen his potential, and you've said that he's been able to take down some of the other top players as well in some practice matches.
All right, fair enough. Now let's get to the next matchup. We got rank 8 Tailsweet and rank 9 Not Not. Obviously, Tailsweet famous for using their mutated dragon to reach those 18,000 power levels. In fact, I believe their record was 24,600 in a mutated mirror match for that dragon. And of course, they'll be taking on Not Not, who has recently switched to Steel Edge, gotten the win over Shadow, and really just seems to be in top form. In their latest matchup, obviously with like basically 1 match experience with Steel Edge, they're able to bring out multiple axe heads at the end with like multiple attacks each at the same time and then protect them from popping. So they've been putting a lot of effort into nailing down that strategy. Based off of those archetypes, Mutated and Steel Edge clashing, I believe Tailsweet also runs a little bit of Terosian. What are you thinking of this matchup?
Well, first of all, not an out. Was able to get the Dark Horse of the Month award, which is always an accomplishment, and that shows that you have confidence he's going to be able to advance ranks. I think he will too. Steel Edge is just so unpredictable for the majority of players because only one player in the past has really run them, which is Dan B, and that was only recently or so. And every time they are so powerful in endgame, and people don't really expect that because they don't really think about that. I think Steel Edge, him switching to Steel Edge, will be a big factor in him being able to advance the ranks, and I think he'll be able to get over Tailsweet here.
All right, nice. All right, let's move into our top 5. We have Fury Card Battlezone rank 5 taking on Apocalyptic rank 6. You've got a little bit of experience with Apocalyptic yourself. I would say Fury Card's coming into this with Sunwalkers and Apocalyptic, probably some sort of Sunwalker variant. That 3 health points off the Vanguard is just way too appetizing. What are you thinking of this matchup?
Well, this is interesting because it's Sunwalker versus Sunwalker. Unless Apocalyptic chooses something else, I'm not sure who would win. The thing is, Fury Card Battlezone hasn't really played recently as much, except for, of course, last week. Whereas Apocalyptic has kind of dabbled in Sunwalkers a little recently, but not a lot. So I'm not really sure.
I will remind you that they did have a Steel Edge Sunwalker deck way back in the day. It was actually their second deck ever, around about Squishy's time. So they do know the basics of how they play, but they are having to learn the new Sunwalkers about the same time Fury Card is. Does that alter your thoughts?
I see. Well, I do know that Apocalyptic used to be a Sunwalker main player, and then he switched to Roshan's, then to other stuff. I think Apocalyptic, now that he's played a game or two with Sunwalkers, since he's made a return with them a bit, I think he can win. But so can Fury Card, because Fury Card is also a very unpredictable player. So I would have to say, for this, I think Apocalyptic is just a more experienced player overall.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, let's get into the final top 5 matchup here on the bracket. We got Charging Badger taking on Doozy. Rank 3 Charging Badger, rank 4 Doozy. Doozy just getting that win over Misfire. Obviously, they are well known for exploiting the health points, especially they're very consistent in how they play, and they can really catch out a lot of the top players. Charging Badger, known for the Sky Soldiers. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, Charging Badger is definitely one of the best players in the game, and the fact that he's been playing Sky Soldiers from the beginning is actually kind of amazing, and he's been able to do so well with them. Doozy is also a very interesting player, because they've been switching around, and then they eventually landed on Versatile Tactician. Now they're trying Synergy Impact, trying all these different things. And they've been able to take down the top players quite consistently, it seems like, or at least Misfire. I think Doozy will be able to win this match because, I don't know, I just have a feeling. And also, I always predict that they'll lose, so, deserves a win at least.
Alright, well that would be a massive win for Doozy if they can go through Misfire and then Badger, the two, probably, other than yourself, probably the two most leading people in that GOAT candidate situation.
That's true.
So that would be pretty massive. All right. Next, go to the last matchup. Of course, it is yours for the title. Rank 1's Vice Hunting and Rank 2 Dan B. Obviously, you yourself, I would guess, you don't have to say, but I would guess you're going to stick with Life Gamer Beowulf because of how, I would just say because how well you've done that, but obviously, unless you wanted to tell me different.
I mean, why would I not use Life Gambler Beowulf? I just bought the Apex for it, so.
Hey, you could go pure Life Gamblers, I don't know.
That's
I'm just
true,
going based off of what I would guess. But then, of course, Dan B using Steel Edge. A little bit of matchup you're not as familiar with, and they can be quite brutal to deal with. How confident are you really going into this matchup, and why?
Actually, is this Dan B's first title match? I think it is.
It is. It is their very first title shot ever.
That's going to be interesting. Well, Dan B is definitely a very fun player to play with. I think Dan B running Steel Edge, again, Steel Edge, once you learn that, I think that will probably maybe even become a new meta for the game for a bit. Because, I mean, they got new support, so many players are trying it out. It might be the meta for a few weeks. I mean, Not an Out is trying it out, Dan B is trying it out, or has been trying it out for a while. I think it's a very unpredictable matchup. I still haven't really been able to play against the new Steel Edge stuff. I don't know how good that is. I think Danby.
It's very consistent.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think Danby will be a very, very good opponent. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he'll be a very tough opponent, not a good opponent, is what I mean. Or a good. Sorry, I'm tired. He'll be a good opponent and a tough opponent.
Okay. Didn't know we were going to land a whole nother thing there. But all right then. Fantastic. So you are feeling pretty confident overall in your abilities?
Well, I don't know how to feel, as I haven't really played a competitive match in a few weeks, but I think I can win this, yeah.
All right, nice. Now, on that, should you get through Danby, and this includes anybody you see in these matchups, anybody at all, who do you believe is the biggest threat to your reign as champion? And this could be a week from now, it could be a month from now. However long you hold the title, who do you think is the most likely to take it from you?
From these players, well, I think, again, it'll be Charging Badger, which is, again, one of those players that I, for the longest time, could not get over. I think Charging Badger is going to come, if he does, versus me eventually. I think he'll come into the match with the knowledge of the last game that I played versus him. He'll be able to play around that and be able to adapt to that.
All right, fair enough. And then, of course, obviously, we've got Mistfire probably going to be making a comeback soon if they can get through to Moose. Lucky, obviously, if they get through Shadow's going to be big because then they can start racking it up. Not coming through because if they start getting better with Steel Edge, that could be tough. Apocalyptic, if they find more success with Sunwalkers, there's a lot coming through. I'm really looking forward to your Danby matchup, and I think that's going to be really exciting, and it'll be great to see the different styles clash.
Yep.
Especially with dealing with those board wipes. Of course, life gamblers are very good, but their biggest problem, I would guess, is board wipes because it's hard to regain that field advantage afterwards.
That makes sense.
I think it's going to be a really nice and balanced matchup.
Yep.
And appreciate you coming on and giving your thoughts.
No problem.
All right. Well, I want to take any more of your time. I appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to seeing your matchup.
All right.
All right. See you.
See ya.